Mintirang ba kajala megalia Conrad ke sangma ulasay laki jong kinya ban Pynksan yeladi halo ka GSOI yak memorandum of understanding MoU pynbeit pot bat kajala asam halon riutli ki chaka hakmat menteri ka kampoy yang ka sarkar India Amit Shah hau banai ber araja arpuar haba juba be ka jingkli na gilat pathai ku bora ka arpunyotri ga yong araja arpuar mintirang ba ulo ong ba ka sarkar da ka jing ai jing menjul ki regional committee kilatrish domha nak banta kani ka jing thumu pynbeit pot.
Our objective, I think, is very clear. We have gone ahead and started this discussion because we felt that people in the border area have suffered for too long. That's my first and most important objective. We felt that this is an issue that has been pending for a long time and it needed to be resolved. And that's the reason why we took up the matter, had many rounds of meetings, and after a lot of hard work being put in, we were finally able to sign the Memorandum of Understanding in the presence of the Honorable Home Minister to take this matter to a completely new level, where we are hopeful that once the second phase is over, we'll be able to actually demarcate the actual geographical boundary. Having said that, there will be different people who will see it in a different way. And all I can say is that it's quite sad to see that certain individuals have that kind of a mindset, even on such an important issue like this. I don't think there's any need to play any kind of personal attack or politics in this. This is the issue of the people. Our government has been very, very committed to it. I have been very committed to it. The chairmen of the different regional committees have been committed to it. There is no reason for anybody to doubt the sincerity and the intention of this government to find an amicable and best solution, keeping the larger interests of the people of the state in mind. I'm very clear that democracy means that there will be dissent. Democracy means that people have the right to express their concerns and their voices. I don't see anything wrong in somebody dissenting or not agreeing with what I say or what the government has to say. I'm just saying that it's sad to see the nature in which it is being perceived. I feel that such negativity and such personalization of a matter of such great importance to the people of the state is somehow just undermining this entire issue, and it's sad to see that people at that stature are looking at this from such a micro perspective is what I'm trying to say. But dissent is something that everybody has a right, and I have nothing to say about dissent in the sense that I always welcome. We always examine anything that is given to us in a very positive way. We never look at it in a negative way. But I just would urge that others should also look at the entire issue from a positive sense and try to appreciate also that what work and effort has gone in, and not always make it a personal and a political issue.
Halo ka jingkano bak sarkar jala ka khlem siam ye jing pensngo na kinong ilam hima kinong ilam sinong bat ki try chaka bat ya ka khasil sa Thomas District Council mintirang ba ulakan tai da ka boong baya baro ka jing pensngo ladep singap bat ladon ka jing emel jingmot bat ki ulong ba ki bami ban persya ya ka MoU kidai tangki riu simet.
We have had consultations with almost all traditional heads, and we have had discussion even with the district councils. When this entire meeting and discussions were held at the regional committee levels, members of district councils were present. Even the traditional heads were present. So at every step along the way, they have been part of the discussions. Now, concerning the stand that they take, I have nothing to say in the stand that they have, because everybody has a right to take the stand. But we have tried to figure out a solution here, which we strongly felt cannot be done if we were to stick to the original process of going with only the documentation and historical facts and different maps that were there. I'm not saying they're not important. They are very important, because that's what history is, and that's what our our forefathers have given us. So it is important. It's not that it's not important. But what we are trying to do here is trying to find a solution to a problem. And a complicated issue like this cannot be solved by us putting documents on the table or them putting documents on the table. We have been mentioning from day one that this is not a division between countries. This is simply a boundary or administrative control within a country of India. Therefore, yes, as a government and as an individual, we would want that all the entire map that we submitted should come to us. But we need to realize that, practically speaking, that will not be possible. Because Assam will have more documents and maps than we do. Because initially, Meghalaya was drawn out of Assam. So my point here being is that everybody and the HIMAs and other organizations, they have a right to take their stand. If they wish to go to the judiciary, that is what the judiciary is for. But we are very clear that we have done what we had to do, keeping in mind the interest of the people and ensuring that the best solution could be reached. And we felt after all the exercise we did that we needed to look at the will of the people in that area. And based on the will of the people, we had to move forward and find a solution. So the principles were slightly, I should say, expanded. And once the principles were expanded and broadened, certain other principles came in, and that's when we took this decision. So therefore, if we were to stick to the original maps and documentation, I think we would never be able to resolve the problem, and we would still be having meetings and coming out with the conclusion of maintaining status quo. But that is not a solution. So therefore, we had to take a stand, we took a stand, and we went ahead, keeping in mind the larger interest and keeping in mind that at some point in time, we need to find a solution to this very, very vexed issue, which was causing a lot of inconvenience to the people, especially living in the border area. See, number one, when we signed the MoU, two of the ministers from the UDP and one of the ministers from the PDF and one of the ministers from the HSPDP were present when we signed the MoU. They have all been part of the regional committee. So therefore, and obviously they have been discussing this with their party level. From what I understand, the party leadership in the regional committees, in the regional parties, have not expressed any such opposition to the MoU that has been signed. Party leaders within their party, some individuals have raised concerns, and they have the right to do it. And I'm sure that we will explain things to them, and once they hear the process which we followed and moved forward, I'm hopeful that they will be convinced. But as I said, that I always respect dissent or any kind of concerns, and it is my duty and the duty of the government to clarify those concerns that are there, and I'm happy to do so. So therefore, even in the case of the UDP or the PDF, if there are equal concerns, they can always discuss the matter with me, and I'll be happy to explain the entire process and aspect.
Hakajuk upor umitrong ba ulakantai ikajingkano unung ilam kalyang persya kayeng dobar thwain kajala Meghalaya u Dr Mukul sangma dak bakano kalai ka sarkar jala lam khamat do Dr Mukul sangmahi kumumitrong ba house nam arja kharwai hakabala pankre ya ka documentation pynbeit pot hakatai kapor.
I wouldn't know what he's trying to say, because using a word like manipulation is very simple, without really giving it with facts what really he means by manipulation. Because as far as I remember and as far as I know and as far as the documentation goes, the entire documentation for what Meghalaya has demanded or the disputed area that Meghalaya has shown, the report was prepared by him and his government at that point in time. It was based on that document where he showed the villages that were under dispute. We have gone ahead and started our discussion with government of Assam based on that document. Some people have questioned me why we have left out certain villages. I have given the simple reply that we have not left out anybody. We have fought for those villages and those areas under which the report was given in 2011. So my point here is there was no manipulation from anybody, but there was maybe a mistake from the then government and the then chief minister, where he and his government had left out the villages that should have been in the report. And it's quite sad to see that there are certain villages where the government then had mentioned as disputed village, but in the map which they drew and gave in that report, that village was shown in Assam. So maybe there was some manipulation from their side at that point in time. But I can assure you there is no manipulation here. This problem and this issue has been resolved because, not resolved I should say, or we have come to this point I should say, because of the broad understanding and the kind of understanding of this issue between Government of Assam and Government of Meghalaya. If these two governments had not sat down together and the Honorable Chief Minister of Assam had not been committed to it, the Government of India had not been committed to it, Government of Meghalaya had not been committed to it, we wouldn't have seen this discussion come this far. So I think it's very unfair for any individual to say that manipulation was done by Assam. Assam has been very, very as broad-minded in the sense that there were a lot of villages that were under the administrative control of Assam, which was shown in the disputed area. And we managed to get those back to us because people of those areas wanted to be in Meghalaya. Now, there are some people and some political leaders who mentioned about that 18 square kilometers have gone to Assam, or 18.6 has gone to Assam. Number one, the exact square kilometers will only be determined once the pillars or once the actual boundary line is drawn, which will be done after a joint survey with Survey of India. That is only an estimated figure, but the actual figures will come out once the survey is done. Second, a large portion of this 18.6 square kilometers which is mentioned in Assam is actually the Gizang Reserve Forest. And the Gizang Reserve Forest is already or was already in Assam in terms of the notification for the forest reserve forest area, which was done under Assam. There is no public habitation there. There are no people, no villages in that area. So therefore, that itself made up large chunk. So what I would like to stress on is that it would be important for us to see in terms of the villages that have come to us. And if you look at the large number of villages that have come to us, I should say that in this entire process, the Assam government has stuck to principles and ensured that the will of the people is heard, and wherever within the list of disputed villages which was given in 2012 or 11, within those lists, the villages that desired to come to Meghalaya, Assam did not create any opposition to it. They went ahead with the will of the people, and that is how we managed to get almost 21 out of the 23 villages in the West Khasi Hills area. So, to cut discussion short, the question of manipulation does not arise. This has been done in a very, very proper and detailed manner. Many officials, many stakeholders were involved in this. Again, I stress that there could be dissent, there could be non-agreement, but I think at the end of the day, the objective of the government was to go ahead and find an amicable solution, and we strongly feel that this is the best solution that we have reached, and we've managed to get major areas and villages into Meghalaya, where the people of the tribes of Meghalaya were inhabiting those areas, and those areas have come to us.